Welcome to Multiple Choice Question 11 of the 2010 Mathematical Methods Exam 2. In this video, we will be looking at the solution for this question. A reminder that this video is in no way endorsed by VCAA. And before we get to the problem, I'd just like to point out that the use of a CAS calculator is by far the most efficient way to answer this question. So for question 11, we have the continuous random variable x has a probability density function given by the following hybrid function. The value of a such that the probability that x is less than a is equal to 0.25 is closest to. So this question is really asking us to find the value of a to two decimal places. So to start off with, we need a way of converting the probability that x is less than a in its symbolic format into something that we can work with algebraically or eventually on the calculator. So the probability that x is less than a is the same as the integral that goes from the lower bound up here of 3 pi on 4. So that's what we're going to put down here. So 3 pi on 4 to the upper bound of a for the rule f of x, which is a nice simple rule, which is just cos of 2x for this probability density function, or that's the rule for where there's some meaning to this. And that is integrated with respect to x. And we need that to equal 0.25, which is given in the question. So we want to solve this equation for a. On the CAS calculator, go into the main menu. Next, we want to type in the equation that we just identified that needs to be solved. So hitting the keyboard button, we can bring up the soft keypad. And under Math 2, we can find the integral symbol. So our lower bound needs to be 3 pi on 4. So 3 pi divided by 4. And our upper bound is the value of a. So we go variable a to get that on the calculator. Next, the function where the probability density function actually has meaning is cos of 2x. So we type in cos of 2x and we integrate that with respect to x. And then we actually need to tap outside of that little box. So we need to hit the across arrow or go out so that the line that's flashing right there is nice and large, and we want that to equal 0.25. Next, because it's a circular function, there's actually going to be infinitely many values of a, so we want to put a restriction on a. So under Math 3, we can use this straight up and down line to say that a needs to be bigger than 3 pi on 4, so I can drag that across. So a is going to be greater than or equal to 3 pi on 4, but then it's going to be less than or equal to the fraction, which is 5 pi on 4. And that comes from the upper value of that domain that's given in the question. So once we've got that typed in correctly, remembering to put our restriction in and make sure that this equals 0.25 is outside of that dx box, we can now highlight all of that. So just make sure the highlighting goes all the way to the end and go interactive equation inequality solve. And we need to swap this x for a, that's what we're solving for, and hit OK. And that gives us a is 11 pi on 12, but based on all of the answers, we can see that a decimal is sufficient, and we can see that a is 2.88, correct to two decimal places. So from the calculator, correct to two decimal places, we found that a is equal to 2.88. So that makes C the correct answer for this question. And from the examiner's report, we can see that 54% of students got this question correct, which means that it was a reasonably challenging question in the exam.